Yep, third graders. This is Miss Clark, and today we're going to talk about polygons. First, we need to know what is a polygon. A polygon is a closed plane figure composed of at least 3 line segments that do not cross. When you think about a polygon, I want you to think about the different shapes that you know. Shapes like a triangle or a hexagon, a trapezoid, a rhombus, and a square are all going to be examples of polygons. But not every shape that we know is a polygon. In order for a shape to be a polygon, it has to follow some rules. The first rule is that a polygon has to have at least 3 sides. That means that it can't have any less than 3 sides. The second rule is that it has to be a closed figure. That means that the shape can have no open sides. Our final rule is that a polygon can only have straight lines. That means that there can be no curvy crazy lines on our shape, or else it is not a polygon. Let's take a look at these different rules a little bit deeper and see some examples. The first rule is that it has to have 3 or more sides. When I look over here, I see that my triangle has 3 sides and my parallelogram has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and my hexagon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Each of these shapes have 3 or more sides, so they get a check mark for being a polygon. Shapes that have 1 or 2 sides are not going to be a polygon because they have less than 3. Our second rule is that a shape has to be a closed figure. When I look at my triangle over here, I see that each side and corner meet together. There are no open sides, so that means it's going to get a check for a polygon. When you look at this triangle, I see that this corner meets and this corner meets, but over here, it's left with an open side. Since polygons have to be closed figures, a shape with an open side is not going to be a polygon. And last but not least, rule number 3, it can have no curved sides. That means shapes like circles or hearts or ovals are not going to be polygons because they all have curved sides. Take a look at our rectangle and our rhombus and our triangle. Each side on these different shapes all have straight lines. Since they all have straight lines, they're going to be at a check or a polygon. All right, third graders, let's practice. I want you to look at this shape and think, is it a polygon? And then why is it or is it not a polygon? Go ahead and take your time and pause the video and be a thinker. All right, boys and girls, when I think about if a shape is a polygon, I instantly think about our 3 rules. The first one is that it has more than 3 sides. I see here that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's going to get a check for that one. Next, I want to make sure that it's a closed figure. When I look, I don't see any openings on my shape, so it's going to get a check for that as well. And finally, it cannot have any curved sides. I see that all the sides on this shape are very straight, so it's going to get a check there as well. Since I have 3 checks for my 3 rules, that means this shape is definitely going to be a polygon. Let's take a peek at this shape. I want you to pause the video and think, is this shape a polygon and why? Remember, as you're thinking, remember our 3 rules for a shape to be classified as a polygon. All right, friends, let's take a look at those 3 rules. First, it has to have more than 3 sides. Well, when I look at this shape, I see that there's one side here and it has a big circly part there. It's going to get an X because there's not at least 3 sides. Our second rule is that it has to be a closed figure. I don't see any openings on this shape, so we can get a check mark there. And our final rule is that it cannot have any curved sides. There's a huge curve on this shape, so it unfortunately is going to get an X there. Since not all 3 of my rules have check marks, that means that this shape is not going to be a polygon. All right, let's take a peek at this shape. Pause the video and think about, is this shape a polygon and why? All right, let's look at those 3 rules again. First, I need to know that it has more than 3 sides. Well, I count 1, 2, 3, and 4 there, so it's going to get a check for that one. The next rule is that it has to be a closed figure. I don't see any openings when I look at this shape, so it's going to get a check mark for that as well. Last, my shape cannot have any curved sides. The top of my shape here has a twisty turny curve, so it's going to get an X. Since I don't have 3 checks for my 3 rules, this shape is not going to be a polygon. Let's practice with one more shape. Take a look at this and ask yourself, is it a polygon? Why or why not? Okay, first we're going to think about our 3 rules. The first, we need to see if this polygon has more than 3 sides. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides, which is way more than 3. So we're going to get a check there. Next, I need to see if this shape is a closed figure. When I look, I don't see any openings in the shape. So that means, yes, it is a closed figure. And finally, I need to make sure that the shape has no curved sides. When I look, I see that each side is very straight, so it's going to get a check mark there. I have 3 checks for my 3 rules, so that means this shape is going to be a polygon. All right, 3rd graders, great job today. You're going to move on to the practice activity below, and you're going to practice identifying those 3 rules for polygons and determining if the different shapes are going to be polygons or not. Remember, if you forget something or you need a little extra help, you can always come back to the video for a refresher. Great job today and good luck, boys and girls.